trail the St. Louis Blues by a 3-1 margin. Welcome back to Capitals Hockey on DC 20. Al Koken with you, and joined by left winger Ivan Korovon. Before we talk about your scoring exploits of late, let's talk a little bit about this game. A frustrating contest. We've talked how the style of the Blues can be very patient, very frustrating. The Blues can be very patient, very boring, very frustrating, but they certainly have you guys bottled up right now.
Well, you know, we came out and Brian said, you know, they're going to come out playing hard, and I think we came out a little flat, and they just play a simple game, is dump around the boards and get it out, and that bottled us up a little bit in the first period. And you know, we're getting enough chances, but we're not just bearing down, but we're not getting enough second chances, and hopefully we come out in the third period and get a couple quick ones.
You had a good scoring chance in that first period, and you've had some chances lately. For one, you're getting quality ice time with some quality people, and your confidence must be pretty high now after popping in 2 goals in 13 seconds out in L.A.
You know, that was a big game for me out in L.A., and you know, I'm playing with Gussie and Gartz, and you know, once you play with them guys, you don't have to find them; they find you. And I just go up and down my wing, and they get me the puck, and I've been getting some success, and I've been getting a lot of ice time. And the more ice time I get, the more confidence I get, and everything's going pretty good for me.
When we first saw you in a Capitals uniform a couple years ago, you certainly looked tailor-made for this division and this team. Hard off the boards, come into the corners, go to the net. What now is the difference, though? What are the subtleties you've worked on and refinements you've made in your game since that time?
Well, between now and then I was really nervous with the puck, and I was scared to make mistakes, and my confidence wasn't really that good. And I think the difference now is I'm getting more ice time, and I've got a lot more confidence than before, and I'm getting a few more chances, and basically just confidence.
We've seen you in situations where you've had penalties taken against you, and a couple penalties we thought were questionable called against you, just using your stick to slow people down. Is it tough for a young player in the league now to kind of judge what is going on with the referees and how they're calling games? Is it tough to get a real feel for what is happening period by period?
Not really. You know, when you're a young guy, you just go out there and play the way you normally play any other time. And you know, here they call a lot of stick work. You get the stick up high and you get it around them. You can't hold them too long because they're going to call it. So you just make sure you don't hold them too long and let them go.
All right, Ivan, we appreciate the visit. Thanks for coming down and stopping by in this second intermission, and for being here with us. Ivan Korovon receives a $50 gift certificate to Dash's Designer Menswear, where they have a tradition in quality menswear, and it's a $50 gift certificate as well for Larry Murphy. We'll return with more intermission activity from the arena in St. Louis, Missouri, right after these messages here on your Superstation DC 20.
3-1 after 40 minutes of play here at the arena in St. Louis, and Washington still has to kill off 3 minutes and 33 seconds of Greg Adams' 5-minute penalty for high sticking. Al Koken and Al return to recap tonight's second lead over the Washington Capitals at the end of 40 minutes of play here at the arena tonight. Mike Fornes and Al Koken welcoming you back once again here on your Superstation for Sports DC 20. Well, St. Louis only got 1 goal in the period, but they certainly outplayed the Capitals in keeping them at bay, and now the Caps really have their work cut out for them, trying to kill off the rest of this Greg Adams major penalty. Everything
playing right into the Blues' hands. They want to take that lead. That simple style of play, so effective when they're on top by a couple, and now a chance to really put this game away with the major penalties you talk about. They can score at will in the second period for as long as it's up and put plenty of distance between them and the Capitals. The teams we talk about, not great on the comebacks. They're just not getting those second chances and the quality scoring chances they're not converting on.
The lone goal that was scored in the period was for St. Louis, and Turnbull got it, his 8th of the year from Rick Mahar.
You know, this is an area, Mike, where the Capitals have been so good lately. And you see it's Mike Gartner, and there's Ben Gustafson have been topped out of the faceoff, and Mahar beats Gartner to get that shot for Perry Turnbull. Gartner in there against Mahar. Gustafson out of there. Normally be the guy taking the faceoff, and it really pays off for the St. Louis Blues. Here's a good scoring chance the Blues had of late on the power play. See, again, the attention the Blues pay to the Capital players up high frees up some room down low. This time it's right along the goal line, and Dale Hunter's able to sweep in there, take the shot, but a good save by Rick Wamsley.
Washington outshot St. Louis during the period, 15 shots to 10. They were even in the first period at 6-6, so things certainly opened up in that department, but so far the Caps have been able to get any of those shots from the second period on past Rick Wamsley. Let's take a look now out of town and see what's happening in the other games around the National Hockey League. We mentioned we've got a couple of finals, and here's some more. 5-1, Boston winning over Buffalo at the Boston Garden tonight, and the Islanders beating New Jersey 4-2 in a Patrick Division contest. The Rangers are at Montreal, and at the Forum, it's the Canadiens 4 and the New York Rangers 3 in the third period. Pittsburgh has a 4-3 lead at Toronto against the Maple Leafs. And Chicago is at Quebec tonight, and the Nordiques beat the Blackhawks 4-1. The score, the Blackhawks, the opponents for the Capitals tomorrow evening. Detroit is at Minnesota, a third period score there. The North Stars 2 and the Red Wings 1. And a college basketball score, Boston College 68-66 over Georgetown at the buzzer. Last shot winning it for Boston College over Georgetown. More hockey coming up from the arena in St. Louis in just a moment.
Well, along with these folks, a number of Caps fans in attendance. The Bob Gould Fan Club back in section 220 at the Cap Center here to say hello. And Kevin Engler, Paula Kidd from Louisville, Kentucky, saying hello to the Engler family back in Annapolis, Maryland, watching a nice game. And the legendary Paul Griffin, longtime Capitals fan on the road here. Caps tonight in St. Louis and tomorrow night in Chicago. Paul from the Exchange downtown in Washington coming out and hitting the road with the Washington Capitals.
Greg Adams still in the box for a major penalty for high sticking. 3:20 to go on it as we start play here in the third period. The Blues with a man advantage and can score at will. Mark Hunter shoves it back inside the Washington zone. Here's Langway up the boards. Kept in by Hunter. Langway hangs on to Hunter in the corner, and Fedorko comes along. Tries to move the puck, but Hatcher wins that battle and gets it away to Bobby Gould. Here comes Gould shorthanded to center ice with Kelly Miller. He's across the line, fires a shot wide. Ramage starts out. Brian Sutter across the line. Hunter has the play broken up. Ramage tosses to the corner, and it's cleared off the stick of Sundstrom out of the zone by Scott Stevens. 2:25 to go in Adams' major penalty. Sundstrom takes the puck. Mahar skated right over it, and Sundstrom gives it away back inside the blue zone. Here's Ramage for St. Louis. Out to Cliff Ronning. He's chased by Gustafsson to Sundstrom. Walks in a backhand shot. Way up over the goal off the glass. Again, the Blues clear, but only to the point. Stevens keeps it in. Ramage pushes it to the corner. Now Ronning throws it behind the net. Gustafsson chasing it out of his own end as the Caps willing to take up more time. Stevens slaps it back to center ice. 1:50 left in the Adams penalty. Scott Stevens winds up and clears it all the way down to ease the pressure.
One of the advantages the Capitals have had a bit, they've been able to rest their penalty killers, and they've had 3 fresh rotations in about a minute and a half time. That certainly has been a factor here in killing off this penalty so far.
Greg Smith gets it ahead for Bobby Gould on the right wing. Gingras slows him down, and the puck comes back inside the zone now for Robert Nordmark. The Blues lead at 3-1 and still have the man advantage. Nordmark up to center ice. Gingras fakes the shot, gives to Fedorko. Back to Gingras. He fires, and a glove save by Malarchuk. And then Sutter runs right across the goal mouth and hits him. Mark Hunter and Rod Langway talk it over right in front. As Sutter and Hatcher push and shove.
Well, Brian Sutter's path was certainly helped along quite a bit by Rod Langway, who did the job in front to try and get Sutter away, looking for that rebound. This is really the only chance the Blues have had so far in this second period. Gingras skates in. The drive up around knee level. And there's Sutter, and you see Rod Langway helping him along a bit. But the Capitals, because of those fresh players and the way Brian Murray kept getting particularly his fresh penalty-killing forwards out, that great forechecking was done on the Blues power play unit and did not allow them a chance until right here. That ate up almost more than 2 full minutes of that major on Greg Adams, which has 1 minute and 6 seconds left to go.
Here goes Hatcher into the corner to chase Sutter. Langway throws a hit. And Gartner comes up with a puck, clears it outside the line. Nordmark over to Gingras. Lead pass to Fedorko. Back inside the St. Louis zone. Here's Nordmark. 40 seconds left in the Adams penalty. Sutter to the corner. He's checked by Hatcher. Christian guided into the corner boards now by Mark Hunter. But Urko in there trying to work it free. At the point, Ramage keeps it in. But Urko pokes it in front for Mark Hunter. Sutter fans on a shot. And Gartner is able to take it on the backhand and flips it all the way down. 5 seconds until Adams comes out. Ramage tosses it in. Malarchuk makes the grab, holds onto the puck just long enough for the penalty to end, and play is called. The Capitals back at full strength. There's a break in the action with a score. The Blues 3.
Capitals only halfway through their home schedule. You got a chance to get out and see plenty of Capital Center action. You can do it by guaranteeing yourself a season ticket or partial plan for the rest of the year, and give them a call, the Cap sales reps I'm talking about, at 386-7000. They're standing by throughout tonight's hockey game. They'll talk to you about getting season tickets and partial plans for the rest of the year.
Here's a slap shot from the point, and Scott Stevens takes over, feeds it ahead to Kelly Miller. A break, walking in, a shot. He fires just wide. Larry Murphy puts it in the corner for Michael Pavanka. Back to Murphy. Murphy can't get it behind the net. Has it bounce all the way to the blue line. Stevens tries to keep it in but can't. And here's McKegney back inside the St. Louis zone. 16 minutes to play here in the third period. The Capitals are back at full strength. Mike Ridley at the blue line challenges McKegney. Bourgeois plays it off the boards, and Dart goes all the way down. Cruz is in front. The shot deflected by Murphy. Back comes Ridley. Over on the right wing to Miller. Miller dumps it in. The Capitals change up on the fly. The Blues changing also. Here's Hunter. Dark comes up with a puck and just slaps it out to center ice. It hits the linesman, but Hatcher is back to chase it. Over to Rod Langway. Off the boards, back into the St. Louis zone. Played by Nordmark, up the boards to center. Cliff Ronning strides to the Washington line. Drop pass. Mark Hunter, a wrist shot. Way up high off the glass. Out comes Dale Hunter of the Capitals. Passes over the stick of Christian. Again, the Blues dump it in. It's cleared to center ice, and Ramage is back after it. The only Washington goal of this game coming in 8:47 of the first period on a power play. Bengt Gustafsson's 14th of the year. Since then, the Blues have had scores from Sutter, Ronning, and Turnbull. Greg Adams picks up the puck and starts to center ice. Flips it ahead to Scott Stevens. At the blue line, Gustafsson. Poked out to center, and Holder tosses it right back in. Bothwell. Behind the net to Ramage. Out to center. Holder works it over to Gustafsson. Raglan is checked at center ice, and Gustafsson finds Korovo. Ivan Korovo trying to pass to Gartner, but along the way it gets deflected on net. Wamsley hangs on to the puck. There's a break in the action with the score. The Blues 3 and the Capitals 1.
Than ever. Buy EOS today with no money down, low monthly payments at participating Canon dealers.
Rick Wamsley still has only given up one goal to the Washington Capitals. Washington with an earlier scoring chance in this period. Kelly Miller coming down. Snaps the hard shot in, but this just goes wide of the net. Trying for that far side and doesn't miss by much.
From the draw, the Capitals get it. Here's Murphy, a high shot. Stevens hustles in from the point to keep it in the zone. Fedorko slaps it up the boards. It'll get past Murphy and goes all the way down. They wave off the icing. Malarchuk leaves it behind the net. Off the stick of Stevens. Now out to Bobby Gould. Left side, Ivan Korovo. Korovo checked by Nordmark. Stevens has it. Into the corner now for Gould. Spun around on the play. Still has the puck. Now tripped up. It comes in front. And Sundstrom's shot is on goal, but Wamsley sees it through the crowd and makes a stick save. Back come the Blues. Fedorko to Mark Hunter. Thrown in behind the Capitals net. Larry Murphy out to Korovo. Ivan Korovo to center ice. To Bengt Gustafsson. He's checked by Cavallini. Back comes Fedorko. Tosses it into the Washington zone, and Langway out of the corner Moves it ahead for Gustafson. Now to Mike Gartner. Gartner from center ice throws it across the line. And Gingras back to get it. Gaston Gingras plays it off the boards to center, and Hatcher returns it to the line, catching Gartner trapped inside the zone along with Franciscetti, and play is stopped. Mike Gartner with 2 goals in his last 2 games now has 26 goals on the season, leading the Capitals in the goal scoring department, and his 44 points also tops on the club.
Unfortunately, it's become too much of a baseball and hockey city, with the St. Louis Football Cardinals announcing they're moving to Phoenix, Arizona. Sorrows felt from that, and also for the fans in Baltimore who thought they were going to get themselves another NFL franchise back in there. But the mysterious Bill Bidwell has decided to take his fun in the sun.
Here's Langway to the corner. Dark works the puck free to the corner for McKegney. Now back of the goal, and Langway winds up with it this time. Tries to slap it out. It hit the referee Maruelli in the back of the legs. The puck comes to center. Hatcher to Hunter. Tied up at the line. The puck sent all the way down back inside the Washington zone. Here's Langway out to Hatcher. 12:15 to go here in the 3rd period. Capitals aren't too far out of this one. A 3-1 score. Hunter shoves it right back in. At the point, Scott Stevens a drive, a save made by Wamsley, and it's cleared back out to center. Back in St. Louis ice, Rob Ramage. Out to center, and Miller takes over for the Capitals. To Greg Smith. Lead pass for Pavanka cut short. Now Smith grabs it, starts up ice. Greg Smith across the blue line. Passes to Miller in the corner. Miller checked by Nordmark. Pavanka has the puck. Tries to get in front for Hunter. He's knocked down. And back comes the Blues on the attack now to center ice. It's Ron Handy, just up from Peoria in the International Hockey League. Throws it into the corner for Mark Hunter. The 2 Hunter brothers mix it up at the side of the net. Mark of the Blues and Dale of the Capitals. And back comes Kelly Miller. Here's Miller with Ridley, who wants the puck. Wrapping his stick on the ice. Ronning has it for St. Louis, and Stevens throws a devastating hit. Boy, did he ever put the shoulder into his opponent there, knocking down Herb Raglan, who just now is getting back up. Evans tries to center it, but Miller takes it away. Stevens stopped to make sure Raglan was going to be all right. He really stepped into it. Here's an icing call to stop play, and the faceoff goes back to Washington ice, and Raglan is going to be all right. There's a break in the action with a score. The Blues 3 and the Capitals 1.
We'll be back with you on February 2nd, Tuesday night. The Caps in Pittsburgh to take on Maryland Mules. Ball Coffee, the Penguins. It's live 7:30 time right here on your superstation for sports DC20. Oh, you talk about a big hit. Look at the one Scott Stevens levels on one of the bigger and stronger St. Louis Blues. That is the classic example of lowering your shoulder and dropping your man. It's a pretty big guy here too, Mike. Not one of the Smurfs they've got out there sometimes. Guys like Mahar, Evans, and Handy, and Ronnie. That is big Herbie Raglan.
Here's a hit now as Gingras goes after Franciscetti and sends him flying. Back comes Mark Hunter inside the Washington zone. Langway back to chase him. Fedorko has the puck. Takes it behind the net. Larry Murphy in to tie up in the corner. Fedorko takes it away. Now Gould has him trapped. And Mark Hunter skates away with the puck. Walks in. Can't get the shot underway. Crowd wanted a penalty on Murphy. They don't get it. Langway tries to freeze it against the corner boards and succeeds in doing that. And Mark Hunter protesting to referee Dan Maruelli that Murphy had hooked him off the play.
No whistles at all from Dan Maruelli in this 3rd period, and bodies have been flying with sticks attached many times. Dale Hunter complaining he was hooked down by Larry Murphy. There's a guy who in many circumstances almost impossible to take off his feet when he's in front of the net. But Dan Maruelli, I would have to imagine, has got to not be thrilled to see the Blues and the Capitals, because he has refereed a number of games, and more than a couple of them have involved some controversial goals and controversial plays.
Funny how sometimes you can draw a couple clubs that just seem to have that mix, and you get the assignment. That that's where Marawelli has found himself on a couple of occasions. Here's Mahar throwing it behind the Washington goal. Raglan is back on the ice. Didn't miss a shift, but he's checked now by Gustafson. Stevens stopped there for a moment to make sure Raglan was okay after that hit. I think he felt that he got him pretty solidly. But Raglan's right back out there. The puck thrown off the corner boards, and Scott Stevens is on the ice now and is tied up by Turnbull, but gets rid of it, throwing it out to center ice. Bothwell over to Raglan. Off the glass back in Washington ice, and here's Stevens to start out. Lead pass for Corriveau. Now to Gustafson. He works to center. Left wing side off the stick of Gartner. Gartner goes to the corner, but Ramage plays it off the back of the St. Louis net. It's cleared to the point. Scott Stevens can't keep it in and controls the puck just outside the line. Now on right wing goes to Gartner. Gartner throws it on goal, and the save by Wamsley. Cleared to the point. Stevens trying to keep it in. Dart pokes it back to center. Here's Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher tosses it in. The Capitals want to change up the line. Smith back into his own end for Larry Murphy. 8:35 to go here in the third period. Pavanka to Murphy. Passes ahead. Michael Pavanka across the line. Left wing side. Miller goes to the net. Fires. And a save made by Rick Wamsley. Wamsley's come up with a couple of big saves, but the Blues as a team are not really doing anything to keep the Capitals from coming back in this game. Washington is trying to get back in the game, and the Blues aren't doing a whole heck of a lot to maintain their lead or keep it going.
Well, this is the second time Kelly Miller's had some room there. The second time he's tried to go to that far side or the glove side of Rick Wamsley. But there, Mike, you see again, too, in this regard, the Blues aren't giving up the second chances. Wamsley's making the save, and then things get controlled in front, in this case with Wamsley bouncing down on it, but they have been susceptible to a little speed outside, particularly when you don't have that defensive duo, Bothwell and Ramage, which have been real big tonight. They've been out there on the ice for the most part, when Gartner, Gustafson, and either Corriveau or another left winger have been out there. So those guys really are the top two. When you don't have those guys out there, the Capitals have been getting some skating opportunities and some room.
Wamsley has not been particularly successful against the Capitals in his career, going 2-7-3 lifetime with a 3.28 goals against average. Came to the Blues from the Montreal Canadiens. He was involved in the tie back on December the 20th at the Capitol Center. He had the loss in Boston Saturday in overtime 2-1, and then beat the Whalers 3-2 here on Thursday. Kelly Miller behind the St. Louis net, off the stick of Pavanka in the goal mouth, but it's covered up. Again, Wamsley finds the puck and freezes it. Play is called with 8:06 to go in the third. There's a break in the action with a score. The Capitals trailing the Blues. Face off to the right of Wamsley, won by the Capitals. Here's Langway at the point, keeping it in. Taken by Ramage. Throws it out to center. Langway takes the puck down and flips it back inside St. Louis ice. Ramage rushed on the play by Dale Hunter. The puck comes back to Bothwell. Now Ramage and Hunter swing sticks in the corner. The puck cleared all the way down by the Blues. Hunter squares off with Ramage at center. The sticks come up high, and they're both going to end up in the box.
I'm not so sure both of them are. Maybe just Dale Hunter. I think this is just going to be against the Capitals' Dale Hunter.
Looks like it now.
They were banging, and finally it was Hunter who got the stick up, and that's what Dan Marawelli is going to get him for. We'll get the official announcement when we return. The Blues lead the Capitals 3-1.
Hey, good night, Mr. Hall.
Good night, Leo. We're rich food days like today. Sometimes it feels like it could burn right through me. The doctor explained it once, how what's down...
Mike, you were right. It is going to turn out to be coincidental minors. The way Dan Marawelli was pointing, he pointed 4 different times at Dale Hunter alone, not the equal points. Ramage and Hunter, they're coming up ice. This is how the play, everything develops. They're going into the corner first. There's the collision. Now the penalties will come as they start back up ice. That gets them going. Now they're going to look at each other, jostle with each other, a little elbow from Ramage. Then as they come up ice, they're continuing to bump. Dale Hunter gets the stick high, and that is where Dan Morelli blew the whistle. I thought it was simply going to be high sticking to Hunter, but Ramage gets a roughing call, so the Capitals get a big break. They are not down a man, still 5-on-5 out there.
At the point, here's Rod Langway, able to keep it in. Feeds to Gartner, a wrist shot blocked, and the loose puck sent wide of the net. Now Ragland jammed up in the backboards. Here's Mike Gartner with it for the Capitals. No power play for either side. Langway fires. It's blocked in front by Nordmark and taken by Ragland out of the zone. Hatcher chasing it back in his own end. Long lead pass. Too far for Gartner. Paul Cavallini goes in after it. Touches the puck in the corner, and now Sundstrom comes in to join. It's flipped out to center ice and trickles back into the Washington zone with 6:55 to play here in the third period. The Blues lead the Capitals 3-1. Most of the scoring came in the first period. St. Louis got a goal from Turnbull in the second period. Rick Mahar flips it in. Malarchuk directs it to the corner for Stevens. Kelly Miller. Left side for Stevens. Works to center ice. He's across the line. Passes to Miller. Fires just wide of the net. Now behind the goal. Miller centers in front. Turns around and can't get the shot off. Rick Mahar takes it back for St. Louis. Out to center ice. Led ahead for McKegney, but it's broken up by Murphy at the line. And Stevens goes back to chase it now inside the Washington zone. Stevens to Murphy, out to center for Gould. Taken back by Turnbull of the Blues. Right side for Michael Dark. He's hit by Langway. Bourgeois slaps it into the Washington end. 5:50 to play, third period. Caps down by a pair. Here's Langway. Up to Bobby Gould. Flips it back inside the St. Louis zone. Running, goes to the corner. Clears it off the corner boards. Puck cleared from the corner by Adams right out front, but the Blues able to take that, and Ronning starts to center. Sends it all the way back inside the Washington zone. Here's Langway. Up to center ice. Directs it back inside the St. Louis end. Nordmark slaps it all the way down. Capitals came close to getting caught with too many men on the ice there, but the puck goes back inside the Capitals end, and here's Hatcher to play it. Lead pass for Scott Stevens. Out to Mike Gartner. Gets across the line. Gartner hooked by Nordmark, and the puck left behind the net. Gustafson and Sutter collide in the corner. At the side of the St. Louis goal. The puck cleared out to center ice for Brian Sutter. Poke check by Murphy. Out to Ivan Korovo. Korovo on the comeback with Gartner. Goes to the middle. Backhands it in front. Directed on goal, and a save by Wamsley. He scoops it up. Capitals have outshot the Blues 5-1 here in the third period. 26-17 so far in the game. But St. Louis has the lead on the scoreboard, 3-1.
This is the last flurry. Ivan Korovo coming in with Mike Gartner. Korovo elects to backhand the puck over to Mike Gartner. It never gets through. It hits off the skates of Bothwell and then spins in front. And that's where the chase begins. Kelly Miller has had 3 scoring opportunities in this third period. All 3 of them taken to the far side, that glove side of Rick Wamsley, and all 3 of them not finding the net. What started out, though, as the fourth line for Brian Murray with Ridley, Pavanka, and Miller has probably been his most effective line in terms of pressure in this third period. They're getting plenty of ice time, but they're not getting the shots on goal. Scoring chances, but nothing coming on net.
Here's Benning. Lost it. Ridley gets a shot off. It's knocked down and poked away from Pavanka. And out comes Turnbull to center ice. Back inside the Washington zone. Scott Stevens out of the corner with it. Lead pass up the middle for Michael Pavanka. At center ice. Pavanka throws it into the corner. Mahar back to chase it. Ties up with Miller. Now Ridley gets a stick on it, taken over by Bourgeois, and the puck comes back to Brian Benning. At center ice, here's a right wing pass for Raglan. Flipped on goal, Malarchuk makes the stick save. And back comes Mike Ridley for Washington. The Capitals changing on the fly. Franciscetti gets jammed up at the St. Louis blue line. Paul Cavallini tosses it in. Hatcher to the corner. Up the boards for Franciscetti. Right wing side for Smith. Up ahead to Hunter. Dumps it back inside the blue zone. Wamsley leaves it there. In the corner, Cavallini tries to get a stick on it. He and Franciscetti collide. And finally, Franciscetti skates in after Gingras. Lou Franciscetti hustling to the corner. Nobody in front for the Capitals. Now it's taken out by Dave Christian. Christian flips it to the other corner. McKegney goes in after it and clears it outside the zone. 3 minutes to go, third period. Caps running out of time. Greg Smith starts the play. Up to center. Washington trying to keep the pressure on. Hunter goes to the sideboards, but the puck knocked down with a high stick and play is called. There's a break in the action with the scores. St. Louis 3 and Washington.
Capitals return home to the Cap Center Tuesday night to take on Patrick Division rivals New Jersey at 7:35, and there are still plenty of good seats available. Give the phone charge a call tomorrow at 432-0200 or stop by any ticket center outlet and all area hex stores.
2:50 to go here in the third period. The draw comes back to Bothwell. Throws it off the glass. Bobby Gould in the corner. Mike Gartner to the point, looking for Holder, taken down now by Evans, and he clears it all the way back inside the Washington zone. Now we've got a penalty call coming. Gartner ends up going after Evans as they collide right inside the blue line. All the players directed away from the altercation. Suddenly Gartner turned around. Evans had already dropped his gloves, and Mike Gartner in a rare fight. I don't see him involved in that too much.
Mike, what a trade-off for the St. Louis Blues. Not that Jacques Martin would send a guy as small as Doug Evans out to take Gartner off the ice, but boy, does this work out to his advantage. The Capitals down by 2, and their leading goal scorers in the penalty box for at least 2 minutes, with only 2:27 left to go in regulation. That trade-off will work every time for the St. Louis Blues. You get Mike Gartner frustrated. He gets involved in a guy with like Doug Evans. Not going to mean anything for the St. Louis Blues, and now the Capitals without their top goal scorer. They had a collision, and look how Evans gets up there and drops the gloves. Now, should that be instigating? He's got the gloves off first and has the hands up. Should the Capitals get extra time for that? Looks like Dan Morelli is not going to give extra time to either side. Both will get roughing calls, 2 minutes each.
High sticking minors also given to Gartner and Evans. And then roughing on top of that. So 2 and 2.
So they're done for the game.
They're gone.
Regulation. Certainly works out. Doug Evans doing his job of hitting Mike Gartner, and then looked like he challenged him. Certainly gets him off the ice in a very advantageous situation for the St. Louis Blues.
Some of the muscle missing from St. Louis's lineup tonight in Todd Ewan, in addition to all the 6 injuries that we told you about earlier. St. Louis missing 6 forwards because of injury. Todd Ewan suspended tonight. He's already picked up 3 misconduct penalties this year. 3 game misconducts. So he's suspended from tonight's game. Marawelli is hit on the backboards. The crowd likes that. And Stevens centers. Pavanka's flip shot goes over the goal. Here's Sutter to try and clear it. Back to the point. Larry Murphy turns it around. Miller, a drive that's wide to the stick side. Now Mark Hunter flips all the way back inside the Capital zone, and Larry Murphy's back to chase it. Over to Scott Stevens. Lead pass to center, cut short by Fedorko and dumped back in. Dale Hunter of the Capitals leads the pass to Christian. Turnbull keeps it back in the Washington zone. The crowd sensing the St. Louis victory. Lead pass for Gustafson to the center line. Dumps it back inside the Blues zone. Here's Benning off the boards. Takes a crazy hop out of the corner. Mahar recovers with it to Ragland on the right wing. The Capitals net is empty. Ragland centers it, and the pass goes right behind Turnbull on the play. And the Caps still alive with a minute to go. They've got Malarchuk out of the net and a sixth attacker on. Here's Murphy to Gustafson. Wrist shot, pad save made, and the puck cleared to the corner. Now Murphy back to Adams. Here's Stevens charging and fires, and he just missed wide. Also Christian was at the side of the net, couldn't get a stick on it. Mahar throws it back to the Washington line. Larry Murphy can't clear it out. Mahar digs it free, and now Mahar knocked to the ice by Murphy. Nothing called. Here's Gustafson on right wing. Christian to Adams. 30 seconds to go. Adams over to Hunter. Played off the glass. Hunter back to Christian, into the corner. Turnbull's back to get it for St. Louis. Adams tries to get a stick on it. Gustafson keeps the pressure on. Back to the right point, Hatcher. 17 seconds. The puck knocked wide. One of the Capitals twisted off his skates in front, pulled down and being held there. Nothing called, and the puck deflected up into the crowd as Hunter was wrestled to the ice and held there until finally the puck was sent out of play.
What more do you have to do? It may not be enough to get the Capitals on that game, but if that is not the most flagrant example of holding, you're sitting there right in front of the referee, you pull a guy down on top of you and then you keep your arm wrapped around him, what do you call it?
Now look at that. Ramage has got him down there, and I don't know, I suppose it could be argued that Hunter didn't try to get up. Where's the grip on him? But at the same time, Ramage has got him pretty well wrapped up, and Brian Murray's frustration is certainly evident at this point. With only 9 seconds to go. The Blues with a 3-1 lead. Although the Capitals have outshot St. Louis 9-2 in this third period. From the face-off, Langway's wrist shot right on goal. The save, rebound, centered away from Corvo. It's cleared all the way down. That's the hockey game. The Blues hold on to beat the Washington Capitals 3-1 in front of 15,498 fans here tonight. And St. Louis wins its 18th game of the year and now has 41 points. They move ahead of the Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago lost tonight at Quebec against the Nordiques. So the Blues moving a little bit closer to the Detroit Red Wings in the standings. Detroit is playing against Minnesota and losing at the moment. The Blues get a big hand as they leave the ice. The Capitals stay at 47 points with a record of 21, 20, and 5 on the year. Shots on goal in the third period. Washington with 10 shots in the third period, a game total of 31. And St. Louis with only 2 shots on goal, a game total of 18. We'll be back to recap tonight's game between the Capitals and the Blues after these messages here on DC 20.